Hello all, welcome back. In this video we will see how to select radio buttons in web page. For that we will use the cy.check command in Cypress. So to select the radio buttons in the website that we are using here, Orange HRM. So once you log into the website and if you go to the dashboard there, after that if you navigate to PAM, there you will see this plus icon, plus add, and then if you see here create login details. Once you enable these login details, you will see there are two radio buttons here, status enabled and status disabled. Okay, so we are going to verify this data and how we can check, how we can enable and disable these radio buttons. We will see in this video. Okay, so for that what I am going to do is I am going to create a file, spec file. I am going to name it as handle radio buttons .cy.js. okay, and I'm going to do a describe. So handle radio buttons. Okay, and then as usual, so in my previous videos we have already seen how we can use before each hook. Okay, so in before each hook, what I am going to do is I am logging into a website and submitting the login page. Okay, for that I am going to copy the code that I have written from my previous test. Okay, so we are logging in, navigating to login page, and then entering username and password, and then submitting the form. So this will take us to a dashboard page. Okay, so let's write our first test. So handle radio buttons. Okay, I'm giving this name, and then so as I shown you before, we need to select PAM from this list. So what I'm going to do is cy.contains, and I'm looking for PAM. If I get the PAM, then what I will do is I'll click on that PAM. Okay, so after that, once I get a PAM, then you see there is a plus add button here. So we need to identify the selector for this one. Plus add element. So if you see here, this is the plus add element, and we need to get this element. So I'll show you one simple way to get the element if we find it difficult finding using any of these attributes, then you can get directly from test runner itself. So let's see how we can get suggestions from test runner. So here we have created a radio buttons file, so I'm clicking on it, so it started executing that file. See here from the dashboard we have navigated to PAM, and then we need to click on this button. So there is this icon. If you click on this icon, and if you see here, if you want to find the element for any of the element, then if you click on it, it will give a suggestion. Okay, so if you wanted to find a search one, then if you click on search, then you will see that it is giving a suggestions to get an element. Okay, so for here we need to get a plus add icon, plus add element. So we will take this one and then we'll execute it, and then as it is a button we'll do a click. So once we do a click on that one, what we will get is we'll get this page. So what we need to do is we need to click on this create login details. So if you see this create login details, this is a checkbox here. Okay, so this is the element, so this is a checkbox here. So we need to check this checkbox, then these radio buttons will be enabled here. So to check the checkbox, what I'm going to do is I'm taking elements cy.get. I'm getting an element as type is equal to checkbox, and then what we need to do is we need to use a check method. So it is a, and then what we need to do is, as this is wrapped in between the elements, then sometimes we need to use force method here. So force variable, so we need to use force is equal to true, then no, then it will check that checkbox. So let's see whether it is enabling or not. So it's logging in, and then it's selected PAM, then add button. Okay, so it tried for getting a checkbox, so I have not closed this one, that's why it is unable to find it. So let's rerun it. See, if you see after selecting this checkbox, these two are open. So if I don't provide this force option here, so you will see you may get an error, and okay, if you see here it is unable to check that element because it is covered by another element. So when it is covered by another element, so what we need to do is we need to provide a force option. So once we provide a force option for this checkbox, this these two radio buttons will be enabled now. So if you see the first radio button is already enabled, so what we can do is we can check whether it is already enabled or not. So what I am going to do is now, so cy.get, I am going to get the radio buttons. So type is equal to radio. So there are two radios, so what I am going to do is I am going to get the first one. So to get the first one, you can use the first method, and then what we need to verify there, it should be checked. So if you use be.checked, which means we are verifying whether that is checked or not. Okay, and after that we will verify the text also, whether this text is enabled or not. So if you see here, if you go to this radio button, so this radio button is enabled. So here we got an element of radio. So for that the parent is label, so we need to get the label, then we can verify for text here. So to get the label, what we need to do is we need to get the parent element. So to get the parent, so and then we can verify it's a text. So should have text of enable. Okay, so let's verify. I'm saving this file. See, it got passed. So the default first one got selected, and then its text is enabled. Okay, so let's check the second one also in the same way. So for that, let's get the radio button again. Type is equal to radio. This time I wanted to get the last one. So to get the last one, as there are only two, so first and last, so we can use the last command. And then as it is not checked, what we can verify is not be checked, and then we need to get the parent element similar to the top one, and then it should have a text of disabled. Okay, so if I save the file, the text execution is started, and see both the scenarios got passed here. So the label is not checked, and the label name is also disabled here. So now what we can do is we can switch, like by selecting this disabled one, and then we can verify the reverse things here. Okay, so for that I am selecting the second radio button. Okay, so here we have used first and last, right? So instead of first and last, you can use dot equals. It's basically written an array. So as we need a second element, so the for second element the index is 1, so we can take the index equals of 1, and then check. We can use the check to select that radio button, and then if you use a force colon true, then that that will be checked. Okay, so I'm saving the file, and then we'll rerun it. See, now the disable is selected. So as it is selected, we can verify whether the first one is deselected here or not. Okay, so I will just copy paste here, and then be not checked, and I'll copy this again. What I can do is for the last one, it should be checked here. Okay, so we need to verify these scenarios. So let's save. See, now it is checked, and all the conditions are passed here. Okay, in this way we can validate radio buttons. Thank you.